Sandman, where he got the fish, went in his little trailer and he just passed his house, I believe, and he's running away again.
So they're running away currently, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so chapter 13. So this is the start of part 2 of the story. Okay? It's nearly time for Pancho Pirelli. He'll soon be entering the tale. Who's Pancho Pirelli? You may well ask. This feller's a fishy legend. No. I understand. I want it recorded. Because that is what I'm doing. You don't need to read it.
Dun dun dun. Why can't I do it now? Now's a good time.
And I'm telling you my answer. Okay, I'll ask you in a little bit.
He's such an amazing bloke that some people wonder if he's really human. How can he do what he does? How can he dodge death time after time after time after time? He must have gills. He must have scales. He must have a fishy fragment sparkling in his brain. He must have fishy particles pelting through his blood. He's a man of fish and legend. And when he does appear, he'll turn our Stan's world inside out and upside down. Right now, of course, at this particular turning of the page, Pancho doesn't even know that a lad called Stanley Potts exists. And Stanley's just as ignorant as Pancho. But their paths are chosen. They're headed towards each other. Whether they want it or not, they're going to meet. It's their destiny. It won't be long. So what was that whole paragraph? Is that kind of a narrating, kind of a foreshadowing of what's to come?
For a second, I thought it might have been Dostoevsky.
Oh, that's a good prediction, too. In the meantime, here's Stan trundling along in the Land Rover with Dostoevsky and Natasha. The caravan behind them is rattling and swaying. They're following a road beside the area. Beside the sea, sorry. There are dunes and beaches and endless water and a few wooden shacks and a couple of villages. The sun shining in the blue, blue sky, and the sea is glinting with a breeze blowing, and there are boats dancing on the swell, and Dostoevsky's happy and This is the life, Stan, he calls. The open road, the world's our oyster. We're wild and footloose, and we're fancy free. He swerves to avoid a pothole in the road. He beams at Stan in the rear view mirror. What'd you think, our Stan? How's it feel to be fancy free? Stan looks away. He dips his fingers in the tank. He watches the dunes streaming past. He's already starting to wonder if he's done the wrong thing. Why did he turn his back on everything he loved? What on earth got into him? Natasha swivels in her seat and grins. He's bubbling, she says. No, I'm not, says Stan. Dostoevsky regards the boy again. It's natural to be bubbling, he says. You'd be bubbling yourself, Natasha, if you'd done what he's just done. Is that it, our Stan? Are you having second thoughts? Are you Stan? Stan tries to control his voice. He tries to avoid Natasha's eyes. No, he says, but his voice is hardly more than a whisper. Are you missing your folks? Continues Dostoevsky. Stan meets the man's eyes. Just a little bit, Mr. Dostoevsky, he says at last. Natasha stifles a giggle. Dostoevsky winks at Stan in the rearview mirror. I know you must be, but never mind, he says. You soon get used to being with us. You'll soon get used to being wild and free. Ain't that right, Natasha? Yes, snorts Natasha. Stan looks down. Be brave, he tells himself. And you'll soon forget about the folks you left behind, says Dostoevsky. Ain't that right, Natasha? Yes, snaps Natasha. Yes, he will. That's right, says Dostoevsky. So stop your worrying, son. We're your family now, and we'll look after you. He puts his foot down. The engine roars. The Land Rover and the Hook-a-Duck caravan thunder on. Stan leans back in his seat. He tells himself that he has done the right thing. He tells himself that all will be well. He tells himself he must be brave. But he has to keep on squeezing back the tears. I don't know about you guys, but I think he's kind of regretting.
Of course, wouldn't you be?
I know I would be.
Don't tell me you wouldn't, because you
I
would.
would be. Chapter 14. They drive and drive. Dostoevsky and Natasha eat pork pies and pickle mix that they get from a garage on the way. Natasha lobs sweets over her shoulder. Chocolate, peanuts, midget gems, American hard gums, mints, mini cola bottles, jelly snakes. They lie on Stan's lap and all around him on the seat and on the floor. He stares out into the world that seems wider and wider the further they go. You got to eat, says Dostoevsky. You got to keep your strength up, Stan. It ain't an easy life keeping a hook on duck stall on the go. So Stan licks love hearts, and that have kissed me quick, and you're a sweetie stamped on them. He slowly chews a blue jelly baby. He dangles his fingers in the fish tank and feels the fins and tails of tiny mouths moving tenderly against his skin. There's other fairground traffic on the road. A massive wall of death truck lumbers past them. A camper van chugs along with a bearded lady and a tattooed lady waving gleefully from the windows. Dostoevsky waves back and toots his horn. The day wears on and the light starts to fade. The sun descends towards the darkening sea. There's a town in the distance. Spears and skyscrapers and turrets. Dostoevsky cheers. That's the place, he yells. That's the place that's in need of a hook-a-duck. They enter the outskirts of the town and stops at a red traffic light. A policeman walks into the roads and stands in front of them with his hands on his hips. Best behavior, Stan, hisses Dostoevsky. The policeman strolls to the driver's door. You're with the fair, he says. Correct, officer, says Dostoevsky. Name? Wilfred Dostoevsky, officer. And these is my kid. These is the kids, Stanley and Natasha. The policeman comes around to Stan's door. He peers through the window. He opens the door and shines a torch into Stan's face. Stan wants to yell, "Yes, you've caught me! Take me in! Arrest me! I'm Stanley Potts, the runaway boy from Fish Lane." The policeman narrows his eyes. "So you're Stanley, aren't you?" he whispers. "Yes, officer." "And tell me, Stanley," he says even more softly, "are you a troublemaking kind of boy?" "Of course he's not, officer," says Dostoevsky. The policeman turns. "Did I ask you, Mr. Dostoevsky?" "No, officer," admits Dostoevsky. "So keep out of it." He bares his teeth in a kind of smile. "Are you," he says again, "a troublemaker, young Stanley?"
Computer watchers will get names next.
"No, sir," whispers Stan. "Good. Because do you know what we do with troublemakers in this town?" "No, sir," whispers Stan. "That's good. It's best you don't know. Because you know what would happen if you did?" "No, officer," says Stan. "It would," said the police officer. "Scare you. Stiff." If he keeps the torch shining onto Stan's face. "Do you know what I know?" he says. "No, sir." "I know lads like you. I know what lads like you get up to, especially in these dark days. In fact, I know all you ragamuffin fairground folk traipsing and wandering across the world and leaving all kinds of bother in your wake. I also know that if I had my way," he lowers the torch. But that's another tale. The traffic is building up. A car horn sounds. The policeman leans back and shines the torch toward the car that's just behind. "Sorry, officer," comes a frightened call. "My mistake. Didn't see you there." The policeman scribbles something in a notebook. He points toward a side road with his torch. He glares at Dostoevsky. "That's where we're sending you lot," he says. "Down to the waste ground, down to where the dumps are. That's where your silly fair will be happening. That's where you'll stay. There and nowhere else. And once it's over, says Dostoevsky, we'll clear up and we'll be on our way. Correct. And if there's any trouble, then we'll pay." "I see you've been in this line of work a long time, Mr. Dostoevsky." "Man and boy," says Dostoevsky. The policeman sneers and shakes his head. "What a stupid waste of time. Go on, get going. I don't want to see you or your troublemaking kids again. Go." Dostoevsky drives on into the dark, potholed side road. "It's always the same, Stan," he says. "They treat us like an affliction, when they should welcome us as a blessing. Kept no notice." There are overhanging trees and high ledges on either side. The road becomes a slippery dirt track. Then it opens up into a space where fires burn and smoke curls up into the sky. There are Land Rovers and caravans and dogs scampering and kids running and music playing. Sounds kind of crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The fairgrounds? Just a little bit.
These fairgrounds we're talking about.
Yeah, these fairgrounds seem especially crazy. "Here we are," says Dostoevsky. "We'll take care of you, Stan. Me and my Natasha. Won't we, love?" Chapter 15. Now, here's the thing about Stanley Potts. He hasn't exactly had it easy, has he? Life hasn't been a bed of roses. He's hardly traipsing down a primrose path. It ain't quite been a piece of cake. No way. But the thing about Stan is, he's got the single most important thing. What do you think that single most important thing is?
Fish.
You think it's fish?
Hopes.
Hope? Ooh, I like that answer too. Yeah?
I don't know what I would call it. Destiny. It's not bravery.
Destiny.
It's like bravery.
No, you're not allowed to share.
Maybe like perseverance? He always keeps going?
Sure.
Yeah?
Something that means exactly that.
Yep, exactly. I agree. It says here, he's got the one most important thing, a good heart. And if you've got a good heart, like most kids have when it comes down to it, then you'll survive. So here's Stan with strange new family in a bumpy field in a far-off town. And he's surrounded by a bunch of what some folks would call vagabonds and weirdos. Dostoevsky parks the caravan. They wander through the field. As they walk, there are voices calling out of the darkness and out of the caravan windows. It's Dostoevsky and Natasha. "How you doing, Wilfred?" "How things, Natasha?" "How's the hook-it-up trade?" And Dostoevsky's waving and calling back his greetings, and a couple of times he puts his arm round Stan's shoulders and cries out, "This is me new lad, Stan. He's a fine good lad." And the voices call back, "Hello there, Stan. Welcome to the fair, son." They pass fiddle players and a snake charmer and a trio of boys standing on one another's shoulders. They sit down by the glowing fire. There's a ring of people round it, their faces shining in its light. A man leans down and reaches into the embers with a pair of tongs. He holds something out to Stan, something black and round and smoking. "Take it," he says in a gruff voice. "It's free. Go on, lad." Stan stares at it, doesn't move. The bloke laughs. "Go on," he says again. "Go on," says Dostoevsky. Nervously, Stan reaches out and takes the thing. It's a hard and black and scorching hot. He gasps, drops it, picks it up again. The people around the fire laugh. "Chuck it up and down," instructs Dostoevsky. "It'll cool it."